Greetings, royal family. All right, Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 12, episode 1. The ladies are back. Let's get straight into it. So this was a good episode, I think, for a season opener. The episode opens up with Miss Kenya Moore. Kenya is back for season 12. And you see her with baby Brooklyn, who is a beautiful bundle of joy. She is gorgeous. She's so happy. We've seen her very well behaved, for lack of a better word, throughout the episode. She just seems like, cool, calm, collected little baby. Precious, precious, precious. So Kenya is being like really hands-on. We just see such a joyous moment with her playing with the baby. And she is saying in her confessional that she is excited, about being a mother. We know that Kenya was trying for a very long time to conceive, and she, met some roadblocks. So it's good to see her in this form. I'm going to be honest, straight off the bat, I was not excited about Kenya's return because I just feel she's just displayed such immature behavior, but it makes for good TV. So Bravo has started out being shady. They were shady throughout this entire episode. So we see flashbacks of Kenya's, aggressive behavior. They are so shady. And all of her other, on-screen relationships. They flash back to Matt, and I don't remember that other gentleman who was like a truck driver, or he had a truck driving company. Anyway, so they were being shady right off the bat. But again, it was good to see Kenya, in her element as a mother and just having fun with her baby. She did also express that she wished that Mark, Brooklyn, and herself could all be in the same city under one roof. Here's the thing, Kenya. Before you married Mark, you knew what his work life was like. You knew that he was stationed in New York because that's where his business is. So I don't know if you thought that conceiving and having a baby would change that, but here we are, season 12, and you and baby Brooklyn are in the home alone, and you're complaining about it. So, whatever. Moving on to Porsha. Lord, baby Porsha. Now, I really did feel bad, and because she goes into talking about how Dennis moved out because she went through his phone and she saw some inappropriate things, and she stated that she had proof that he was not faithful during Porsha's pregnancy. So you see Porsha, she's very, heartbroken and sad. Her mom is there. Thank goodness, thank God her mom is there. Her mother is very supportive. Her mother has always been supportive of her. They have a really good relationship. And you can see her mother's heartbroken, and her mother says, I'm not trying to get in your business or anything like that, but she notices that he's not here. Now, Porsha doesn't want the rest of her family or any of her close friends to hate Dennis because they do have a baby together. So she said they will always be family, which is good. That's a good attitude to have, because breakups can be messy and, people can tend to choose sides. So she doesn't want any of that going on in her situation. So what I thought about when Porsha was crying and, the baby, she had the baby, you could see that she was visibly overwhelmed. And I'm wondering, I'm hoping not, but I'm wondering, at that time, was she suffering through, postpartum depression, along with finding out that her fiance was unfaithful? If so, it's just unfortunate. So you see here, shifting from Kenya to Porsha, that both of these women seem to have moved pretty fast. Kenya moved very fast with Mark, and Porsha moved extremely fast with Dennis. And it just goes to show, a baby don't keep no man, girl, but we're not blaming anything on the ladies. That's not my intention. Mark made a choice to, conceive with Kenya, and he seems to be pretty distant. Doesn't seem like he's making the effort to for all of them to be under one roof. And as far as Dennis is concerned, he was unfaithful and he chose to be unfaithful. So it was just sad to see Porsha so heartbroken and overwhelmed and stressed. But thank God she has her sister. I'm sure she has other family as well, and her mom there for support. So moving along, we see Kandi. Kandi is talking to her surrogate, Shadana, I think her name is. So Ace is there, and I haven't seen Ace in a minute. Ace has gotten so big. He's adorable. He seems very bright for a little kid, you know. And Todd is there, so they're all having like a video conference, and Kandi's just asking her surrogate, how does she feel? Is she okay? And Kandi's just talking about it'll be a shame that she won't be able to experience, you know, being pregnant and the baby moving inside of her, or her breasts filling up with milk, you know. I think Kandi chose this route to have a surrogate because she has had some health issues as far as fibroids, like reoccurring. So she had to have a few surgeries to have those fibroids removed. So I think this was smart. She does want another child, and this seems to be the safe route. She obviously can afford it. And this is good to see because this is like something that's very personal, very private, you know, when a woman decides to have a surrogate. And the fact that she is sharing it with everybody, not only is it a good storyline, but it is good to see because it can give so many women hope. So I like that. So far, I like, you know, what's happening. You know what I mean? I like what's happening. We're just kind of catching up with everybody and seeing what's going on. Moving along, and Kandi, we do definitely wish you all the best. All right. Moving along, we see Eva. So Eva is pregnant with baby numero tres, okay? Baby number 3. So she's meeting up with her husband at a restaurant. They're going out to eat. And Eva is, honey, her appetite is large. And that's good. You know, it's good to see that she's glowing, she's eating. She doesn't seem like she's in a depressed state. You know, everybody's pregnancy is different. So it was good to see Eva and her husband talking, chit-chatting. And he's asking how Porsha is doing, because Dennis's infidelity is all over the internet at this time. So everyone's been made aware of, like, you know, what he's been doing or what's been going on or what's allegedly been going on. So she's meeting up with her husband, and they're talking about having to move. Okay. Eva is what, 6 months or so, 6.5 months pregnant. So she's 3 months away from giving birth, and she's having to find a place and having to move her and her 2 children and her husband into a new home to get settled, to hurry up, to have, you know, be in a good position to have this baby. I don't know, Eva, man. You know, judging from last season, you know, everybody was talking about her money troubles and so on and so forth. So I don't know what's going on there, but she seems to be in good spirits. Her husband seems to be in good spirits. And again, they're just talking about having to move. That has to be extremely stressful. And if it is, she is handling it with grace throughout this entire episode. So Eva, girl, you know, hopefully you can get it together. So again, they were discussing Porsha. Now, Eva said that she hasn't reached out to Porsha as of yet. And I'm pretty sure it's because she's been busy with her own life and what's been going on with her. So Eva seems, you know, sympathetic toward what it is that Porsha is going through. As far as people talking in the blogs and stuff, and then they flash back. Eva said, you know, I know about that all too well. And then they flash back to when people was questioning Eva's financial status, you know, about her house and living situations and stuff like that. All right, so that was that. Moving along, Lord, Cynthia. I will say this, though. Cynthia, you look darn good. How old is she? Is she 50 something? She looks darn good. Darn good. And Cynthia is a woman of a particular age who carries herself very well. So you look good, girl. And you are aging gracefully. You are aging beautifully. So shout out to you. But Cynthia has always been annoying to me. You know, her character has always been annoying. And she's just like talking about marriage with this man. And I don't know, how long have her and Mike been together? I'm not sure how long they've been together. I know did they meet last season, season 10? But she's in the bed, you know, they're discussing marriage, and she's just saying, like, she knows what wedding dress she wants. She knows what type of ring she wants. She knows how she wants her wedding to be. And to be honest with you, there is nothing wrong with discussing marriage with your significant other, discussing that you want to be married and what you want the venue to be like, what you want your dress to be like. But Cynthia is like posting on Instagram pictures of wedding dresses, and she's just really being like, repetitive and telling him like about marriage this, marriage that. So it's like Cynthia is getting ready for a wedding and there isn't even a ring. Okay. So like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. So Mike, he did say something that was important, and he said that he wants that moment and don't take that away from him. He wants to be the one to, propose and set things up. He says, like, as a man, don't take that away from him. And it's like, Cynthia, girl, let him pursue you, girl. Like, if it's meant to be, it'll be. If it's not, it won't. It is what it is. He wants to work on their living situation, which I think is extremely important. Like, as opposed to discussing the cut of the ring and the color or shape or style of the wedding dress, he wants to talk about their living situation. Because if I'm understanding correctly, I think he lives in LA. So he lives out on the West Coast. So Cynthia just kind of like glazed over that. Oh, we'll work it out. See, this is what she does. Certain things that are like important that need to be talked about, he's bringing this to your attention. He's saying like, we need to figure this out. You're just like glossing over it. So hopefully that won't be an issue. Cynthia does travel back and forth because she does say that she's bi-coastal. So if she's willing to travel back and forth and they can make it work, I don't see anything wrong with it. They'll definitely work it out. And he said to her that, take that wig off. And she just slides her wig off and, they're laughing about it or whatever. There's just something about Cynthia that has always made me like roll my eyes sometimes. It's like, oh God, Cynthia, here she goes. So I don't know if it's that she is just like carefree and she's like, lives a stress-free life. Like, oh, whatever, just go along. Or is it that she's like a little bit juvenile and can be childish at times? I don't know. I don't know what it is, but sometimes she just really makes me roll my eyes. Moving along, Cynthia and Kenya. So Kenya shows up to Cynthia's winery, Bailey Wines or whatever it's called. So she had the modeling agency. I don't know what became of that. I don't know if she close it down? She might have closed it down. So now she's moving on to having a wine shop or whatever it's called. So Mel is the manager, of course. And it's just, Mel, God bless her. She doesn't get enough credit. Of course she's going to have Mel as a manager because Cynthia is bi-coastal, like she said. She travels back and forth from LA to Atlanta. But to me, it just seems like when Cynthia gets tired and doesn't want to be bothered with this particular business, she has Mel to fall back on. And it's good that they have a relationship. Mel is extremely professional. She's smart to me. She uses logic. She has a lot of common sense. I've always liked Mel. So it's a good thing that she has Mel as the manager, but it's like, girl, we'll see. So we'll see. So in true Kenya fashion, Kenya is like throwing shade about the quality and the price of Cynthia's wine. She's just like, oh, I spotted that you had this particular wine on the top shelf when you should be putting it on the bottom because it's like $5 wine. Kenya just takes every opportunity to throw those jokes. And, I always believe that there's truth in jest. And some people are saying like, that's how they're close, they're friends. I still don't buy the whole Cynthia and Kenya friendship. I don't buy it. Cynthia, they sit down, they go to some cookie restaurant, which is next door to Cynthia's shop, and they sit down. And of course, Cynthia brings up the fact that the last time she saw Kenya was at, I don't even remember, whatever party it was. I think it was Cynthia's, was it not her engagement party or something? Anyway, whatever it was. Comment below and correct me. I'm not sure what it was. So, of course, they flash back to when Nene was not happy about seeing Kenya. Now, remember, Nene was upset at Cynthia for having this function and not telling her that Kenya was going to be invited. See, and then Cynthia tried to say, oh, I didn't know that Kenya was coming when the tape and the footage showed otherwise. So Kenya decides to point out the fact that at Nene's, she tried to call Nene a hypocrite because she said that at Nene's wedding, when she remarried Greg, Kenya invited I don't remember that gentleman's name is, Kenya's ex. That's a weak argument, Kenya, because newsflash, if I have a wedding, I'm not consulting with you or anyone else about my guest list. It's my wedding. So apparently Nene has a relationship with Kenya's ex, or she's cool. Maybe Greg may be cool with him. You never know. But I'm not consulting with you or any of my other guests about my guest list. Like, I'm going to invite who I want to invite. Like, nice try though, Kenya. Nice try. They move on to talk about Porsha and Dennis, and Kenya is just telling, after they talk about Porsha and Dennis, they move on. Kenya is telling Cynthia to stop thinking about getting married and that she's thirsty. And Cynthia's a good sport about it. Like, she's like, yes, I'm very thirsty. I'm dehydrated. Like, she wants to get married. Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, but didn't Cynthia say that after she divorced Peter that she doesn't want to get married again? Or am I tripping? Like, I thought I heard her say that, like, she's been proposed to umpteen times and, you know, marriage just doesn't work for her. That's why she broke up with, that's why she said she broke up with Peter. But didn't she say that she doesn't want to get married anymore? I thought maybe that changed when she met Mike. I don't know. Let me know if I'm wrong. Anyway, so Kenya is trying to give Cynthia advice about not moving too fast and slowing down. Kenya, girl, the people out here in the streets don't even believe that you were legally married to Mark, okay? And you knew Mark for a short period of time and you got married. So because it's working for you, it's automatically not gonna work for Cynthia. Listen, judging by your relationship past, Kenya, I'm not taking no advice from you. Like, your past relationships on the show have seemed quite manufactured. So girl, no, stay out of that arena. Next scene, we see Lauren, who is Porsha's sister, comes to visit Porsha. You see Porsha's mother's in the kitchen trying to fix Porsha a plate, but she's like taking bites of everything. She is so adorable. I like Porsha's mother, very sweet. So Porsha, her mom, and Lauren, they're sitting around and they're talking, and you could see that like Porsha is like overwhelmed. She's stressed, and according to social media, present day, they're back together. So I guess it's all good. But, you know, in that scene, you could just really see that she's overwhelmed. And again, it's good that Porsha has a support system. Her and Lauren, very close. Her and her mom, very close. So it helps to have good people, supportive people around you when like all hell is like breaking loose. So I have always liked Porsha. And it's just sad to see her, so sad. I mean, things like this happen every day, I know. And of course, I don't know Porsha personally, but still, you know, I liked Porsha's character on the show. And it was just sad to see her going through so much. She was just so vulnerable, but it was good to see that she definitely had the support. Now, as far as her taking Dennis back, like I said, according to social media, they're back together. If she chooses to get back with him, that is solely her business. That's really her choice. So we'll see how that plays out in the season. Now, moving on to what I like to call the OLG stage play, honey, because if this wasn't scripted, I don't know what was. So Cynthia, Eva, and Kandi are at OLG, which is Kandi's restaurant, and someone sends a drink to Kandi, and Kandi's like, well, you know, I don't drink. And all of a sudden, this woman walks up to Kandi, gives her a hug, and she introduces herself as the alleged mistress of Dennis. So, you know, of course, Eva and Cynthia, they're like, what? And, you know, Kandi's like, oh, that's you? Now, Bravo didn't even try to convince us that this was authentic, okay? Homegirl was mic'd up, made up, and she just so happened to be in the restaurant the same time Kandi was there, and she came to Kandi. She didn't come to Cynthia. She didn't come to Eva, who are castmates of Porsha. She came directly to Kandi. Nice try, Bravo. We could see right through all of that, you know, scripting. So Kandi did state that, now the alleged mistress, she said that she doesn't even know Dennis, and, you know, she feels horrible and like this is like bad. She was on a reality show, but I cannot remember what she was on. She looks familiar to me. And Kandi did say that. Kandi was like, yeah, I know her, but I just can't remember from where. I don't know. Coming from Kandi, it just seems a little bit... Kandi's the type of person, she knows more than she's willing to say, right? Like, do y'all think that? But anyway. So, again, she's saying that she never met him. And Eva did ask a good question. Eva asked her, have you tried to reach out to Porsha? And I thought that made sense. Why you coming to Kandi, right? Wouldn't you try to reach out to Porsha? But the lady, she said that, that would be a little bit weird, and she felt uncomfortable, and, this is just one big mess. So I guess that's an acceptable excuse. But if your name is being dragged into something that you're saying that you have nothing to do with, I mean, I get it. It can be a little bit weird. This is a tough time for Porsha. So who knows? Porsha may not even want to hear from her or whatever. But that's a good question that Eva asked her, though. Have you tried reaching out to Porsha? Anyway, so Kandi is hesitant about telling Porsha this. And with good reason, because their relationship is cordial, put it that way. There was a lot of static seasons prior between the two of them. And even though Porsha has tried to apologize and try to get in Kandi's good graces, Kandi wasn't really so willing to trust Porsha again and forge a friendship with her again. So I can understand that. I totally can get that. And Kandi's hesitant because coming from her, it's just going to look messy and shady. And she's right about that. She's definitely right about that. So, oh, yes. And Kandi stated that she did try to tell Porsha something about Dennis in the past. I think it was at the reunion, the last season's reunion. And Porsha was just like, she didn't want to hear it. So Kandi's just like, you know what? I'm going to stay out of it. Another thing is that I think that Kandi probably wants to stay out of it because Kandi herself, I don't know if y'all remember, Kandi said she doesn't want to hear anything about, what's his name? Todd. Like, she doesn't want any of the ladies coming back to her, telling her what she heard about Todd. So she probably has that same sentiment. Like, I'm not telling her nothing. I did try to tell her before. We really not like cool like that. We're cordial. So coming from me, it's just all going to look like a setup. She's in OLG. The lady shows up. The lady shows up to OLG. She comes to me. So Kandi is right. It is going to look away. Even though us as the viewers, I'm pretty sure we already think something is up anyway because it looks totally scripted. I think that Kandi she knows more than she's willing to admit, because I think it was Eva that asked her, like, do you think that he's cheating? And Kandi, how just being extra, she takes a real dramatic extra sip out of her drink, and I think that Kandi knows way more than she is willing to say. And sometimes women don't want to hear anything about their man. Like, they just really, absolutely, positively don't. And I guess I can understand that. Again, going back to what Kandi said, she herself said she doesn't want to hear anything about Todd. So it is what it is. Let me ask y'all a question, though. Are you that friend that will go back and tell your friends that you saw their significant other doing something that, was against the relationship or unfaithful? Like, are you that friend, or are you the friend that's like, you know what? I'm not getting involved. I ain't saying nothing. It's none of my business. Comment below and let me know, because sometimes I think it depends on the person. It depends on the friend. Like, I have some that is like, look, tell me if you see something, if you know something, say something to me, and it won't backfire on me. And then you have others that's like, you know what? Nope. I'm going to act like I don't see or know anything because it could potentially backfire on me, right? Like, I'm sure we've all been in those positions. But which friend are you? Or does it depend on the friendship? All right, so moving on, Kenya's party. So Kenya decides to have a coming out party to kind of introduce everyone to baby Brooklyn and her beautiful self. So the theme is Barbie, right? Everyone has to dress up as some version of a Barbie. So she stated that Mark isn't going to come to the party because he's at work. Listen, to me, that's not an acceptable excuse, okay? What is really going on? Like, this is his daughter's coming out party. Work? I mean, Don't you have a team? Don't you have an assistant? And I'm sorry, like, you're running, unless he has other businesses that we don't know about. It's been said that he owns a restaurant in New York. So what's really going on? Anyway, again, her theme is Barbie, and Cynthia did look good. Cynthia came as Thirsty Barbie, I think she said it was. She's being a good sport about this. Like I said, she is milking it, and I think that she is working this thirsty bride thing, because she recently was on the chopping block. I thought she wasn't supposed, I think I heard that she wasn't supposed to come back for this season. So she has to have some sort of a storyline. So she is milking this thirsty bride thing. So she's being a good sport about it. And she's definitely working hard for that Bravo check. So Kenya and her baby, oh my God, do they not look adorable? They look so cute. Like I said, baby Brooklyn was just so chill, you know, relaxed. She wasn't even sweating anything. You didn't even hear her crying. She looked gorgeous. Kenya looked gorgeous. All the ladies looked gorgeous. And you could just tell Kenya's enjoying being a mother. It's good to see this side of Kenya, because I don't think that she has changed at all. I just think that she has taken on another role as mother, and is different from the way we've seen her before, you know, but I don't think she's changed much. I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying. So Kenya is just saying that it is extremely embarrassing to have the entire internet talking about your baby daddy. Now, when she said this in the confessional, I thought that she was talking about herself, because she mentioned that Mark wasn't coming. You know, it's extremely embarrassing to have people talking about your baby daddy. But she was talking about Porsha. But sis, Kenya, people are talking about your baby daddy all up and through social media. So I don't get it. But I really did. I was cracking up, because I thought, like, wait a minute, she's talking about herself, but apparently she was talking about Porsha. So that made me giggle a little. There was another guy in the scene. There was a scene where there was a guy holding baby Brooklyn, and you know, she kind of went up to the guy and said, you know, Mark would have a fit if another man was holding his child. And Twitter spares, like, they don't care. They just go all out. People on Twitter were saying, like, if Mark was concerned about anybody or another man holding his baby, well, maybe he should have been there, you know. So I thought that was funny. Eva, she came by herself, because the ladies were allowed to bring their kids. Like, Kenya wanted it to be, like, you know, family oriented. Moms bring their daughters or bring their kids, and it's kind of like a kids party. So Eva said she didn't bring her kids because she feels that this particular group of women, when they get together, things have a tendency to get out of hand. And listen, she's right. She's definitely right. And we saw things almost get out of hand at this gathering. So I don't blame Eva. And at the end of the day, they're her kids. Her being their mother, she has the right to bring or not bring her kids in wherever, you know what I mean? Or nowhere. So that wasn't a bad call. And I did agree with that. So it may have come across as a little shady, but when the ladies get together, things have a tendency to get a little bit dramatic and out of hand. And I think Eva also said that because, remember, she was at the restaurant when this lady approached Kandi, when the woman approached Kandi about being Dennis's alleged mistress. So she already knew that somebody was going to spill the beans about, you know, this encounter. So, and Eva's not a fool at all. So Cynthia and Kandi, they're talking at the party, and Kenya rolls up and she's like, what are you guys talking about? So Kandi decides, for whatever reason, decides to tell Kenya about this woman showing up alleging to be, who was allegedly Dennis's mistress. And she says, you know, she's never met him, so on and so forth. Why did you tell Kenya this? Anyway, Kenya and Porsha, they sit down and talk. So now Kenya, she's getting emotional about her behavior and how she's treated Porsha in the past. And I just always thought that Kenya was like jealous of Porsha. It comes across that way. And some people may say, jealous of what? You know, Porsha doesn't look like Kenya. Kenya's an accomplished woman. You don't have to have a fraction of what someone else has in order for someone to be jealous of you. She could be jealous of her vibrant, Porsha's outgoing personality. You know, Porsha was married. She was entering into a new relationship. You know, Porsha was pregnant. Some of the things that Kenya might have wanted as well, and she envied her a little bit. And then again, like I always say, Kenya is very childish. She's very immature. So she never really said like, oh, I don't like Porsha because of this. You know what I mean? So it just leads me to believe that she might have been a little bit envious. I don't know. And I understand forgiving and everything. They were talking, but I wouldn't trust Kenya ever again. I just don't care for her personality. I really, really don't. They do have to work together, so I get it. They have to make it appear as though they're cordial. So that makes sense. You know, money is on the line. A check is on the line, so I get it. Porsha decides to mention why Eva didn't bring her children. And, you know, unless they cut it out, you know, Porsha, you put 20 on 10. You know, she was just making it seem as though she did not want, Porsha was making it seem that Eva did not want her children around someone of Kenya's character. Even if Eva did say that, unless I missed it, if she did, then okay. But she has that right. So, of course, that's going to make Kenya be offended. Anyway, so I guess because Porsha shared that with Kenya, Kenya decides to share what she deems as good news by stating that, you know, the alleged mistress showed up at OLG and stated that she's never met Dennis. And, you know, Porsha handled herself well. Because Porsha said, oh, yeah, she knows. She already knows. And she said, where did this happen? Kenya told her it was at OLG. And Porsha says, of course it was OLG. See, this is why Kandi didn't want this information to get out. And they told Kenya not to mention this to Porsha. Don't say anything. First of all, this is not the time or the place, okay? I understand you need a scene, but it's not the time or the place. So this is why Kandi didn't want it to come out this way, because again, it's going to look like Kandi orchestrated something and set something up, because me, the viewer, that's what it looks like. You know, that's what it looks like to me. So this is what I mean about Kenya. She will never change. Like, how is that good news? Luckily, Porsha already knew what was up. She says, oh, yeah, you know, she kind of knew who it was, or she just has more information than she divulged to the rest of the ladies. So it really wasn't a stab, you know, to her emotions. But still, like, she's in a place where, Kenya, you just said it, like, her daughter's father is all over the internet. So where is the compassion? Like, why did you feel the need to have to say something when they just told you not to say anything? See, this is what I mean about Kenya. She is just like, ugh, I can't. I just don't think that Kenya will change. So she basically calls Kandi and calls Cynthia, and they call her out. They say, didn't we tell you not to say anything? So they decided to, you know, let her know, yada, yada. They talk about it or whatever. And again, this is exactly why Eva didn't want her kids at this party. Eva didn't even stay at the party, now that I come to think about it. She left. It's like, Kenya, you take every opportunity to create something, to stir something up. Like I said, we've seen this in seasons past with her behavior. I don't know. She's just a little delusional to think. Like, she was offended by what Porsha was telling her about Eva. Like, have you not paid attention, or are you not aware of your past behaviors? And like, Kenya's like, what would I do at a kid's party? Look at what you just did. What if Porsha was in a different frame of mind and decided to like really black out and things just get ugly? You just don't know. So it's just like, I'm glad that they told her, like, didn't we tell you not to say anything? Like, ugh. So this is what I want to ask though. Do you think that Kandi was even going to say anything? Like, do you think that Kandi was going to say anything, or she was going to kind of hold on to that information and maybe like use it later on in episodes, or maybe at the reunion? Because I understand why she was in no rush to say anything, but do you think that she was going to say anything at all, or she was just maybe leaving it up to Cynthia to spill the beans or to say anything? So they wasted no time with the stirring up of the drama. I'm waiting until episode 3 until Lanithia comes back, because I did miss her. It's being said that she was suspended for 2 episodes or something like that, which she denied when she was doing press. So far, I'm here. I'm totally here. I did check out last season I checked out mid-season. It was just like, oh, whatever, I'm tired of them. But I'm here. I'm here for the long haul. So I'm sure with Kenya back, there will be lots and lots and lots and lots of drama. I'm sticking it out because there's rumors that Nene tried to spit at Kenya. So I want to see how that's all going to play out. It looks like Cynthia has been cheating on Mike and he found out. I want to see how that's going to play out. Cynthia was recorded talking about Nene. I want to know who recorded that conversation and who leaked it, if it's true. So we have a couple of little, storylines that we could kind of look forward to. But Bravo, let me tell you, their editors are shady as heck. Totally shady. I didn't even get into all the shady moments that I saw, but so we know what we're in for. So be sure to comment, like this video if you liked it, share your opinions. Remember, tell me your thoughts on Kandi. Like, do you think that she was going to hold on to this information? What do you think about Kenya's return? You think that she's doing too much already or not doing enough? I know a lot of people like Kenya. Twirl, twirl. Beautiful woman. Glad to see that she is a mother because she always wanted to be. However, I don't think Kenya has changed at all. So, Royal family, that's all I got. Be sure to comment. I will meet you down in the comments. Be sure to be respectful of each other, yourselves, and my platform. We could disagree, but we could do it respectfully. Okay? Royal family, that's it. I am signing out. Until next time, peace.